It began like any other night in August, 1977. A quiet suburb in Enfield, North London, 284 Green Street, home to single mother Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children, was just another modest council house on a peaceful street. But that night, everything changed. Strange noises echoed through the house. Furniture moved on its own. The walls trembled with unexplained thuds. Something had invaded their home, something they couldn't see. Peggy was in the bedroom with her daughters, Margaret and Janet, when the first event occurred. A chest of drawers suddenly slid forward, as if pushed by invisible hands. Peggy shoved it back against the wall, but it moved again. Then a knocking sound, loud, deliberate, and coming from inside the walls. The girls stared at their mother, their faces pale. "Mom, it's happening again," Janet whispered. It was only the beginning. Over the next few days, things escalated. Toys were thrown across rooms, objects levitated, doors slammed shut without warning. Janet began speaking in a deep, raspy voice, one that didn't sound like her at all. She would later claim to be possessed by the spirit of a man named Bill Wilkins, a previous resident who had died in the house. Peggy, terrified and desperate, called the police. When the police arrived, they too witnessed the unexplainable. One officer reported seeing a chair lift off the floor and move several feet across the room. But with no criminal activity to report, they could do little more than leave and hope for the best. But the worst was far from over. News of the haunting spread like wildfire. The Daily Mirror sent photographers to document the chaos. They captured shocking images, Janet levitating in midair, furniture being flung across rooms. Soon the house became the center of national attention. Some called it a hoax. Others believed it was undeniable proof of the paranormal. The Society for Psychical Research sent investigators Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair to the scene. They would end up documenting over 2,000 unexplained phenomena in the house over the next year. From eerie voices to flying objects, their notes read like a horror movie script. Janet, just 11 years old, became the unwilling epicenter of it all. Janet's behavior became increasingly erratic. She would speak in voices that weren't hers, often claiming to be dead men. Her body contorted unnaturally. She was thrown from her bed in front of witnesses. Recordings of her voice speaking as Bill Wilkins were analyzed. Experts said it would have been physically impossible for a child to produce such guttural tones without damaging her vocal cords. Not everyone was convinced. Some journalists and skeptics accused the girls of faking the events for attention. In one infamous interview, Janet admitted that they occasionally played tricks to test the investigators. But the question remained, could children maintain such a complex hoax for over a year, fooling police, journalists, and scientists alike? One of the most chilling moments came when the voice of Bill Wilkins revealed how he had died. "I went blind, and then I had a hemorrhage, and I fell asleep and died on a chair in the corner downstairs," the voice growled. Investigators later confirmed that a man named Bill Wilkins had indeed lived and died under the very circumstances described. How did Janet know? Even after the initial media frenzy faded, the activity in the house persisted. The family continued to experience unexplained events for nearly 2 years. Eventually it subsided, but the trauma remained. Janet would later say that something evil had been in that house, and that it never truly left her. To this day, the Enfield Poltergeist remains one of the most well-documented and controversial hauntings in history. It inspired books, documentaries, and even Hollywood films like The Conjuring 2. But at its core, it's a story about a family, isolated, terrified, and caught in something far beyond their understanding. As an adult, Janet rarely speaks publicly about what happened, but in rare interviews, she admits the events were real, mostly. "I know from my own experience that it was not all fake," she once said. "You don't go through all that for nothing." Her voice, now calm, still carries the weight of something unseen. Was it a hoax? A genuine haunting? Mass hysteria or something more sinister? Decades later, the truth remains as elusive as ever. One thing is certain, something strange happened at 284 Green Street, and it left a scar that time cannot erase. The Enfield Poltergeist isn't just a ghost story. It's a case that challenges our understanding of reality itself. It forces us to ask, what happens when the walls between our world and something else begin to crumble? And what if it could happen again?